93.3 KDKB Rocks, Arizona, live in the studio. Y&T welcoming back to the Valley. Now, we were just talking off the air while the commercials were on. What took you guys so long to come back to the friggin' Valley? I mean, where have you been?
You know what? It's been a real struggle breaking back into some areas that we haven't been in for a long time.
Yeah, it's been a while.
And for some reason, what ends up happening is a lot of times is that the guys that book the clubs
right.
that you see some of your other pals are playing at,
right.
You call them up and you give them the vibe, and they go, "Who are you guys?" And then so you give them the background, and it's just you just have to play the game over and over and over again. You just have to break it, and sometimes it's even as much as getting some fans to call them and gang up on them and said, "Come on, book these dudes."
Do you have a street team?
Yeah, we do.
Do you really? Does that work out for you?
Yeah, they do. They have. We've actually gotten into a couple places where it was just harder than hell to break back into. And but every time we do that, and every time we play where a club owner is like, I don't know, they're always like, before our set's done, they're already coming up to management going, so when can we have you back? So it's always the same story. It's just the virtue of not having 5 top 10 singles, and that's the bottom line. Because some of those bands that went up and came down had the singles and they had the name recognition, but they don't have the core following that comes to the shows to come see them. We've always had that. Yeah,
Y&T is I don't want to say you're a name check band, but there's a certain group of bands that if you mention them around other people and everybody knows who the band is, like you get it. Like you don't see Y&T fans anytime but at the Y&T show. Like you don't see people, you don't run into a guy at Hot Topic and all of a sudden he's wearing a Y&T shirt and you go, oh, Y&T, and stuff like that. But all of a sudden the band comes to town and there are 1,000 people in the club.
Right.
Like where are the most important things are how many people come to the club and how much do they drink? Do the Y&T fans drink?
By the way, we every single club we go to, almost. I mean, I can't say every one of them, but certainly the majority of them say that we set the bar record.
You're a drinking
sales. We are a drinking man's band. We are a drinking man's band.
Just the sound check.
Yeah. That's before the fans show up.
Nothing wrong with that if you get a couple. There was a club that back before I got into radio, I'm a failed musician. Cobain screwed it up for me too. And we used to play a bar in Boston. We used to love playing this bar because even if you were a local band, you got 2 cases of beer. And I'm not going to mention the beer because they're not paying me. But you got 2 cases of beer, and you're like they made the local bands feel like they had a rider, like a tour rider. Like we got the Brown M&M treatment. And I always thought, bands that get treated well and that treat their fans well, the clubs like to have you guys back all the time. So I'm sure if you put people in Club Red tomorrow night, and if you're going to the show Club Red tomorrow night, drink until you puke and then drink some more so that the guys over there say, hey, Y&T, that's a band we should have back so that we don't have to wait so long for you guys to come back to the Valley.